Well, the new Hornby Hush Hush, with all the controversy that surrounded this model, is it any good? Let's find out. Well, good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to Piccadilly Sidings. Now, some of you might remember my video from the other day on gifts and purchases, and this was one of the locomotives that I bought along with the TTS decoder. Now, there's been an awful lot of controversy surrounding this model, so is it any good? Let's get it out the box and find out. Well, before we go any further and look at the actual locomotive, I thought I'd deal with the elephant in the room, if you like. This is the box that the locomotive came in, and obviously this end was all sealed up with the same tape as that, okay, just as you see it there. But inside, that was it. There was no packaging whatsoever, so you can see that is just allowed to wobble around just as it is there. Don't worry, the locomotive isn't in this box. But obviously that is not satisfactory. Any parcel that's delivered like that is prone to damage. I did hear that Hornby had sort of catered out the packaging side of things. I don't know whether that was true or not. I really don't. But whichever way it is, that's not acceptable to send out a locomotive like that. I've received many from other suppliers, and the copious amounts of bubble wrap and foam. But I do have to say, and very, very gratefully, I have to say, that mine did arrive in good condition. So, you know, I can't complain at that. Anyway, these are the instructions that come with the W1. So if you want to have a read of that, I'll just try and hold it still enough. Yeah, have a pause. Sorry about the shadow at the bottom. And the inside there. And you can see that is quite well detailed there. You can see that they've suggested doing varying things. And show you where they even put the accessories, which is sometimes lacking in some locomotives. I'm sure you know exactly what I mean. And there's the back page. Again, showing you where they put the brake rigging and which way round it goes, because sometimes that could be a bit confusing. And I'm sure I've put it the wrong way round in other occasions. Anyway, actually to the locomotive now. Absolutely beautiful. The actual moulding and the detail you can see on here. Loving all this down here. And the com rods as well, all this lot, valve gear, it just looks stunning. And they've got a nice little flange on them as well, which on the top and bottom of that, which you would see on the real locomotive. Even down to the steps, they're not just a flat piece of plastic, they've got like a little bit at the back. There you go, look at that. You can even see the dials. I think they're painted as well, actually, with a needle. That is just stunning. Show you as much as I can, obviously with the angle. And all the little levers in there as well. Gorgeous. The paintwork. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I've got a bit of a mark on mine there, look. Just there. There's a bit of a mark on the R, but I'm not going to worry too much, to be honest. I can soon dot a little bit of white paint over that if necessary. But yeah, printing is just gorgeous. I mean, all that banding on the side there, it's beautifully done. And as other people have pointed out, there is like a rib running down the middle of the boiler there, so that the banding doesn't go all the way over. So look at the other side. Forgive the bright light, but I had to use a torch to shine on here. It's a bit dark where I am with the angle. But you can see all this is just beautifully done. Such fine wire work and the obligatory sprung buffers. Everybody has to point those out, don't they? This does have a beautifully created railing there. And the coal, well, that's just getting better and better, isn't it? I mean, it does have a bit of a gap there, which would be a little bit unrealistic. But again, it's nothing, you can soon put a bit in there if you want. It's neither here or there, really, is it? But again, as we come around the front, we've got these valves on the top there. And these little vents apparently do open. I won't do it now, if you don't mind. I'm trying to hold the camera. And now what somebody did say, and I will try and show you if I can. Yeah, there is a boiler door in there with a dart too. Wow, I have to be honest, Hornby didn't need to do all that, but that is just beautifully done. And obviously we've got these lamps here. It's just gorgeous. Right, so I've got the hush hush upside down now on the cradle, and it says there that I need to remove a screw. Sorry, you can't see that. Need to remove a screw, and that's underneath the coupling. Right, so I've got to get that coupling out somehow. However, it does appear to be quite thick. Ah, there we go. Right, and there's the screw. Now, whilst many of you might already know how to do this, I've never had a big tender loco like this. I've never had a tender steam loco at all, actually, in double O gauge. Oh, that's a long screw. Over. It should just pop off. Yes, it does. There we go. Right. So we've got to get the decoder in there and the space for the speaker. Let's have a go. Right, so let's take the blanking plate out. There are sound files out there specifically for the W1, I understand. But where they got the sound from, I don't know, because I don't think this exists anymore. I think the W1 was scrapped. So, and there was only one made. So I've chosen to use an A4 decoder, a TTS one. I'm not the greatest fan of TTS decoders, I have to be honest. They do seem a bit on the basic side of things. But I think for this purpose now, it will probably do fine. It'll be fine. Right, so there it is. Now, I want to swap out that speaker, but I need to find, put the new one on and then see where it's going to go. I think that's it just there in the corner. Well, that's a relief then. Otherwise, you're looking for which one goes to the orange wire. And it's more brown on this occasion, the orange one. So it's got to go in that way round. Right, so there it is. That's the capped on tape. Just buy it off eBay. Now, some of you might be saying to me, why are you not just using the black or coloured insulating tape, which is like a sticky rubber? The reason for that is because these chips do get quite hot from time to time, and the insulating tape would keep the heat in and cause the chip to burn out. That's what I've been told. Maybe you've had a different experience to that, but this stuff is designed to allow an air circulation, even though it looks just like sellotape, yellow sellotape. That's what I understand, and it allows the heat out, so it's a lot safer for electrical components. Now, I am aware, I'm not going to use this speaker, but I am aware there is a slot underneath there. So I've chosen to use an iPhone speaker for this. Now, it might fit nicely in that gap. So the idea, what I want to do is get this off and let's have a look. Blimey, that was a massive faff. Having initially thought that the speaker would fit comfortably in there, and initially it did, and you saw it rattling around, but I couldn't get this plate to sit properly after that. So I've had to bring it out, and it does seem to sit comfortably there, and this will go back on quite well at that point, I think. So I will have a fiddle about with that, trying to get the screw back in there, and then we'll see it on the rolling road. Okay. Welcome back. Now, you might be thinking, why have I taken the body of the loco off this? Two main reasons. When I put it on the rolling road, I found it needed an awful lot of running in, and I mean many, many, many hours. if you've watched Barry Davis's video or videos on this, he made a comment a couple of weeks ago that his valve gear was very tight. And I think one of the reasons for that is because the wheels are not straight. They're doing this. So they're wobbling on the axles, and that's never good for a loco that's got com rods and valve gear. So I think that's part of the reason. I don't know how difficult it is to put the wheels on square, but what I found was over a period of probably around about 8-9 hours of running, I started getting a squeal, and it was all very sudden. So I stopped it, oiled it all the valve gear, all of this, took the base keeper plate off, did it all inside there, put it back on the track and started it again on the rolling road, and it was still doing it. And it sounded like it was coming from this area here around that middle wheel. So I couldn't see anything that was obvious until I took this part off, this cap. It literally just clips off both sides. And inside here's the worm drive. And all I did put oil in there, but that puts it on the thread. So what you need to do is actually put it on the axles either side of the worm drive. And I literally flooded it. I did put quite a bit in there. Probably shouldn't have, but it solved the problem because I think capillary action just sucked it up. So there was that. But also, some people are having issues with these steps catching the tops of the platforms. Now, mine do a little bit. It's not the depth this way, it's the height of this one. It's catching on the very bottom of this top step. So when I took it off, there's a bolt goes through that brass nut is. So I thought, if I could raise that ever so slightly, it should solve the problem. So all I've done is taken a piece of plastic card. I've drilled a small hole in it and then just put it through a hole puncher. You know, a standard, I'll just show you what I mean. One of those. Okay. I took the bottom off, lined it up with the holes and made a little washer. And I've literally just taped it on. Now, I'm yet to try it, but I'm hoping even just by 0.5 millimetre, that should just lift the body ever so slightly and clear the platform. Well, that little trick solved the problem with the platforms, and it's raised it up by about 0.5 millimetre. So I'm more than happy with that. And I don't think you can notice it too much, that the body is now sloping slightly, but we're talking about a degree, so I'm really not going to worry about it too much. And there is a tiny little gap between these bits and the bottom of the running plate, but again, it solved a problem on the layout, and I'm really not that fussed. Can soon whip it out if I choose to sell the loco. It has caused a problem with the signal gantry by the footbridge. It's catching that, but I'm not ever so happy with that anyway, so I might rip it out and replace that with something completely different at some point. Anyway, let's have a listen. Now, it's got the improved speaker in. Now, the sound isn't magnificent, don't get me wrong. It's a lot better than with the TTS speaker, those little round things that come with it. But, you know, I think it's good enough for what I want, but it might not be for the connoisseurs, as such. So there we go, and I'll just get it going. It is going backwards. Now, it does have a bit of a wobble when it's on the rolling road, purely because, as I said before, it's got wobbly wheels, as a lot of the steam engines have. So I'm just holding the corner by the buffer beam at the minute, and it's still wobbling a bit, but I believe it doesn't do it when it's actually on the track. So I think it's a rolling road thing. I'll give you a flavour of some of the other sounds if you've not heard them. For some reason the long sound isn't playing, probably because I've got it running backwards. Let's stop it. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that many times. Polling. Wheel slip. Whereas actually I will just bring it to a stop. I will play this one to you. I'm struggling with this one. See if you can tell me what you think this is. Now that sounds like some kind of digital screech, but believe it or not, that's the guard's whistle. Yeah, right, that sounds realistic, doesn't it? But anyway, I think I might just pass on that one. Whether the train actually ever stops in the station, I don't know. It might do, but I've got to get some coaches for it at some point. Well, there it is. Is it any good? I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think Hornby have done an amazing job with this model. And yes, it does have its niggles. Yes, it has had its problems. For example, the steps, which I'll put a picture on now and show you the clearance that I've managed to create by that little washer that I put in. So there is that. Well, you can see there I've had to modify the platform a little bit, and I've just done it so it looks like there's a step, a slab been chipped. It's been caught by something, and you've got the slab on the ground there. So I think that's reasonably convincing. I'm not going to worry too much, to be honest. There was another issue with the comrods being ever so stiff, and it just required so long running in. It runs beautifully now, but at first it literally just jammed up every second on the slow running. It was all right at speed, but slow running it just stopped and stalled because the comrods were literally just jamming against the wheels. I don't know, something obviously, but that's all solved now, so I'm really not too worried by that. But on the whole, I am so pleased with it. It is such a gorgeous model, and Hornby have done an amazing job. Now, what I'm going to do off screen now is to fit the nameplates. Now, just in case anybody wonders how I do that, I just use double-sided tape. I unreel the tape, I put the nameplate onto the double-sided tape, and then cut round it with a scalpel, peel off the backing and stick it on the end of a scalpel blade, just pressing down one end at a time, and it works. It works for me. I've done it many times. Other people use blue tack, some people use super glue. You've got to be pretty careful with that because it can damage the paintwork if you get it splurting out the side. But I will also fit the detail to the front of the locomotive. I think there's a vacuum pipe to go on there. I've also got to refit the coupling. You might have noticed it's missing. I've got to put that back on. But they're minor things, but all the brake rigging as well. But there we go. Oh, nearly forgot to tell you, I did alter a CV on the decoder because it's a big heavy loco. The TTS chip was pulling it off a little bit too quickly for my liking, so I did drop the speed down to 90, or CV3 to 90, so it pulls off really slowly. I might bring it down a tad, maybe to 80, but I do want this to give the impression it's, there's a lot of power in this. I'm absolutely loving this locomotive, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope it's been informative to you, and whether you might want to go and get one if you can. All right, anyway, I'll see you again very soon here on Piccadilly Model Railways. Next one will be an Engage video. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.